Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 1 English lesson on possessive nouns. And before we start with our lesson on possessive nouns, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 1. And once you've selected the subject of language arts, grade 1, then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of possessive nouns. All right. So chapter is possessive nouns. The subject is English language arts, grade 1. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of possessive nouns is to select the possessive nouns that match the picture. So we're going to select the possessive nouns that matches the picture. And when it comes to a possessive noun, right, it shows either who owns something or who has something. So possessive noun, it shows who owns something or who has something. And to make a possessive noun, we add is to a person, animal, place, or thing. So we basically put an apostrophe and is, either to the person, animal, place, or thing. So to make the possessive noun, all we need to do is add an apostrophe and is to a person, animal, place, or thing to show the position. And if we look at this example over here, it says Matt's bike is red. So basically, if you were to say either who owns something or who has something, we will say Matt. So Matt, right, has a bike. So Matt has a bike, and in order to show the position, we say it is Matt's bike. So it's Matt's bike, or more like we're not saying Matt's bike is red. So at the moment, we are actually describing Matt's bike, which is red. So Matt's bike is red, right? Which means that we are actually describing Matt's bike. As in it is red. But the thing is, we know whose bike it is, which means it is Matt's bike. And as you can see, Matt has an apostrophe and an S over there. So it basically shows that if there's something or someone that the bike belongs to, in this case, it is Matt. So we said that to make a possessive noun, right? Because it must shows either who owns something or who has something. Then we add an apostrophe and an S, like for example, the Mats, to a person, animal, place, or thing in order to show position. And an example, the dog's name is Rex. So the dog's name is Rex. All right, so basically the dog's name is Rex. So we have the dog's name is Rex. And as you can see, we also have the apostrophe and the S to basically show that it's actually the dog's. That is his name, which is Rex. And possessive nouns are formed from the basic versions of nouns. So possessive nouns are formed from the basic conversions of nouns by adding an apostrophe and the letter S. For instance, a boy, right? If we are saying that either the book belongs to the boy, so boy becomes boys, and the possessives of plural nouns normally only add an apostrophe, not an additional S. So, for example, if it is more than one person or animal, right? So, if we are showing the position and this, it's more than one. So we said that the possessives and plural nouns, they normally only add an apostrophe, not an additional s. So that is basically when we are, if we are saying plurals, then it means that we are talking about, say for example, we are talking about more than one boy, right? So if, for example, we had mentioned that the boys maybe went to the park or so on, right? So now this is already a plural form, which is boys, right? So if we want to show the position or possessiveness of boys, then we're going to put an apostrophe over there with no additional s. And possessive nouns, they don't always indicate a literal ownership. Sometimes we would, for example, read something, say something, but it doesn't mean that that person is directly the owner. So the boys, it refers to more than one boy. So we just put an apostrophe after the boys'. And we said that a possessive noun, right? It is either a person, place, or thing that shows ownership, or basically show ownership of something. So a person, place, or thing that shows ownership of something. We're doing plural nouns. And if we look at a few examples, right, of a possessive noun, which shows either a person, place, thing that shows ownership of something. So the boys' coat, meaning that it is very, let's say, for example, if it's cold, and then you are reminding the boy of his coat. So the boys' coat. So if we want to remind somebody to put on his coat, we can say the boy's coat. And there we have apostrophe and is. That's because we are only making mention of one boy. If you're making mention of one boy, then of course you're going to put an apostrophe as well as an is. But if we have more than one subject, all right, so if we want to know whose car it is, we can say it is Joe's car. And as you can see, it is an apostrophe and then an S. Mr. Roberts' house. So now we're asking ourselves, oh, where are we going to meet? And you can be like, oh, no, we're going to meet at Mr. Roberts' house. And the children's breakfast. So children and apostrophe is. So we had made a few examples of possessive nouns. And we said that a person, place, or animal or thing that shows ownership of something or that has something, right? That is basically a possessive noun. And when we write the possessive noun, we either put an apostrophe and an S, or if it's in the plural form, we only put the apostrophe. So we said that it is the boys' coat, Joe's car, Mr. Roberts' house, and the children's breakfast. I remember we said that with possessive nouns, it basically just shows ownership. It basically just tells us who owns something or has something. That is basically possessive nouns. It's like they want to say who are the ones that own something or that has something. And if we look at a few examples, right, of possessive nouns, and we said with possessive nouns, it basically shows whoever that is owning something, whether it is a person, whether it's an animal, right? And we add an apostrophe and an S to the specific word. Or if it's in plural form, stating more than one reasons, then we only put the apostrophe at the end. For example, we say that a possessive noun, it is a type of noun that indicates either ownership or whatever that's going on, or either you want to show ownership or it's basically just where you want us to see that you have something. For example, we have John's car. So we have John's car, we have Mary's book, the cat's tail. So the cat's tail. So another possessive noun is like saying either my sister's house, my brother's house. All right. So remember we have possessive nouns, and possessive nouns, it shows who owns something. All right. If something belongs to, let's say, someone, whether it's a child, an adult. So these are all the possessive nouns, and they're the ones who shows ownership or has, for example, a specific thing. And we said, remember, a place, a person, place, or thing that shown ownership, that is a possessive noun. And we are finished. We are going to be doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. So we're doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. So when it comes to possessive noun, remember it is something that you own. Even if the pencil belongs to you, right? And your name is Andy, for example, then we will say it is Andy's pencil. So in order to show position, we will be like, it's Andy's, right? All right. So possessive nouns, they don't always sometimes indicate the whole literal meaning, but in this case, for example, Andy's pencil, Andy's pack. So here we have a Andy's. It's a possessive noun. All right, let's go to A plus students.ca. All right, so we're going to select the possessive noun that matches the picture. We're going to the first lesson, which is select the possessive noun that matches the picture. So we're going to complete the sentence that matches the picture. Here we have a picture, right? It says the dress is pretty. All right, so now if we look at this picture, right, we have someone with a yellow dress on, right? So if we were to say who this person is, and then we will say it is the girl. So the girl's dress is pretty. So the girl's pretty dress. So we have the girl's dress If it was a different scenario, we could have used a different form of writing. But the girl's dress is pretty. Beautiful yellow dress. So we say that the girl's pretty dress, right? And we see that a possessive noun, it shows either who owns something or who has something, right? And we say that when it comes to possessive noun, you need to show, it basically shows now who owns something or who has something. So possessive noun, it shows who owns something or who has something. For example, we said Matt's bike is red or the dog's name is Rex. All right. So we see that a possessive noun, it shows either who owns something or who has something, right? In order to make a possessive noun, we need to either add an S to a person, place, animal, or thing. And if we look at this picture, we say that the girl's dream is pretty because she had a pretty dress on, right? Which means that it is her dress, not someone else's dress, right? Which means that the girl's dress is pretty, meaning the dress belonging to the girl. All right, now we're looking at this little pond, right, with a duck. It says the water is cold. And if we look at that little bird animal there, so the water is cold. So we basically say, so it's like the question of who is, and if we look at that little bird creature over there, we can say it is a duck. So now we're asking ourselves, whose water is cold? And then we can say the duck's water is cold, right? Which means that it so shows position. Says match. So the duck's water is cold. Oh, so it's not the duck's water, but the pool's water. So which means that the pond water is cold. And then the money is in his hand. So we're not just saying that the money is in his hands. So the person who is buying the flowers, yes, a possessive noun is someone who owns something. It's like shows ownership of something, whether it's an animal, place, or thing. And here this person is buying flowers. So now, if we look at the money that is being given, then we can say it is the man's apostrophe and S. So the man's money is in his hand, which means that it is right hand. So the man's money is in his hands, and it's basically his right hand. So this shows position. So which means that there's money that is being handed over. It's being it belonged to the man. Right? Now let's go to our test. So we're going to begin test. We need to complete the sentence to match the picture. My boy is holding is it his grandma's or his dad's hand? So my boy is holding, do we say my grandma or his dad's hand? So the boy is holding his dad's hand. And dad's is correct. So yes, well done. Dad is correct. The cake looks delicious. Do we say the baby's cake looks delicious or do we say the boy's cake looks delicious? So we can say, is it the baby's cake looks good or the boy's cake looks good? So we can say the boy's cake looks good. So the boy's cake is delicious. And over here we can say the dress is pretty. Is it the girl's dress or the man's dress is pretty? And if we select the correct one, we can say, and we're going to say it is the girl's dream, and the girl's dream, dream or dress, sorry, dress is pretty. So the girl's dress is pretty. So we say that the girl's dress is pretty, and the girl's is correct. All right. So this is our lesson on possessive pronouns, not pronouns, the nouns, right? And we said that when it comes to possessive nouns, and we said a possessive noun, it shows ownership. It shows either who is owning something or who has something. Like if it's yours, then it means that you're owning something. So which means that possessive nouns, something belongs to you, all right? So this is now the end of our lesson, grade 1 on possessive nouns. Thank you for joining the class. All right. So shows position, but this is the end of our lesson. Goodbye, grade 1s.